listening to Have You Ever Wondered? It is Friday, July 22nd, 2022. I'm Chloe, and the title of today's episode is Poetry is a Necessity. How did we get to Friday again already? I do not know. While the week was going, I was like, man, this feels long, which I never have an issue with during the summer, pretty much. But then I was like, wait, how did we already get back at this point? Okay. Time is weird. If you've listened to the show consistently, or at all, first of all, thank you, like, hugely. And second of all, you may have noticed, even if you just like look through the titles of the shows, that each week during that Monday to Friday set of shows, there's some episodes that cover very heavy topics, and there's some that are lighthearted or more on the fun side, like pop culture type things. And I try to keep a balance so that it doesn't stray too far down the line toward either discouraging and frustrating or frivolous and inconsequential. I'm trying to represent life here. This is the first week where I let 2 or 3 specific words guide my topic selection and sit as the foundation of my writing and research and preparation. Maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. But I decided that I was going to mention it on Friday, whether people noticed or not. And today is Friday. So the 2 words are my primary self-descriptive adjectives, which is sometimes aspirational, but always relevant. The word calm, the word happy. I try to describe myself in those 2 ways every day with varied levels of success. And then in the matter of the Jesse equals Timothy Chalamet episode, you could also insert the word fun or one of its synonyms, because that whole thing is so wild and yet so true. It's it makes me laugh. So to wrap up what I termed in the back of my mind Happy Week, where I didn't want to be brought down by any of the heavier things going on in the world right now, I wanted to do a show that was all poetry. Yay! I've been thinking about this for a while, like, man, one of these days I'm just going to do a show that's all poetry, no issues, just poetry. I mean, poetry covers life, so obviously it also covers issues, but it's not a news report. This is art. And this week felt perfect because this, for me, has also been a very impactful time. And I chose some poetry selections that were impactful for me. And I hope it's going to round everything out nicely after we focused on encouragement, gratitude, humor, and rest. If you missed any of those, I've left them up in audio versions. So wherever you're listening to or watching this, they are still there. So go avail yourself. There's what I hope is some helpful stuff there. But I want to jump in because I don't want to go too long Not that there's like a set time that I have for the show. I'm just trying to be respectful of your time, but I still want to get to everything that I picked out. So, Mary Oliver kicks us off. And I've already said so much about her, there's no need to be redundant. The poem that I chose by her is called Heavy. That time, I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying. I went closer, and I did not die. Surely God had his hand in this, as well as friends. Still, I was bent, and my laughter, as the poets said, was nowhere to be found. Then said my friend Daniel, brave even among lions, it's not the weight you carry, but how you carry it. Books, bricks, grief, it's all in the way you embrace it, balance it, carry it, when you cannot and would not put it down. So I went practicing. Have you noticed? Have you heard the laughter that comes now and again out of my startled mouth? How I linger to admire the things of this world that are kind and maybe also troubled. Roses in the wind, the sea geese on the steep waves, a love to which there is no reply. That's one of my favorites from her. Man. I just put the words up on the YouTube, but if you don't watch, then go look that one up for yourself and read it again. Heavy by Mary Oliver. Sometimes I feel that poets become so integrated with their craft that even their everyday language starts coming out as poetry, which is totally cool. And so I'm going to read a short recounting of an event by Amanda Gorman, who is the youngest inaugural poet in American history. She read last year at Joe Biden's inauguration. And although this is meant to be a story, to me it read like a poem, and I'm going to share it as such. It doesn't have a title. A security guard tailed me on my walk home tonight. He demanded if I lived there because you look suspicious. I showed my keys and buzzed myself into my building. He left. No apology. This is the reality of Black girls. One day you're called an icon, and the next day, a threat. In a sense, he was right. I am a threat. A threat to injustice, to inequality, to ignorance. Anyone who speaks the truth and walks with hope is an obvious and fatal danger to the powers that be. A threat and proud. We've talked about race issues on the show before, so we don't need to go into that at the moment, but I will mention that she posted that about 6 weeks after she stood in front of the world and read for the president. Okay. I love a long one, but I'm also a huge fan of short poems because of their potential for impact when they're done right. So I chose one by Grace Paley called This Morning. To round out the body of the show. Wind devours me like a whole life left open. Space, allowance, stars, everything I'll take. For official poetry time, I did this on one of the first episodes, and so I'm coming back to it for a couple of reasons. One, in case you missed it, and also because one of my favorite things about taking in art, poetry, literature, music, visual art, film, etc., 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 is going back to the thing that me personally appreciate, and noticing how again and again I can still be moved in similar ways. Yes, I find different things too, because over time who you are changes, and so the way you perceive art changes along with you. But then there are certain things about certain pieces that remain static for me, and I find that comforting. It's difficult to come across a children's book that highlights poetry this effectively. But this one does it. And I've loved it for years, so I thought it would be a beautiful way to end this week. Plus, it just makes me happy, and it's Happy Week, so there you go. It's called If You Want to See a Whale. Don't worry, it's not long. If you want to see a whale, you will need a window. And an ocean. And time for waiting, and time for looking, and time for wondering. Is that a whale? And time for realizing, no, it's just a bird. If you want to see a whale, you will need a not so comfy chair and a not too cozy blanket, because sleeping eyes can't watch for whales, and whales won't wait for watching. you want to see a whale, you'll have to just ignore the roses and all their pink and all their sweet and all their wild and their waving, because roses don't want you watching whales or waiting for or wondering about things that are not pink and things that are not sweet and things that are not roses. If you want to see a whale, don't look way out and over there to the ship that is sailing with the flag that is flapping. Because possible pirates won't help at all when you're waiting for a whale. If you want to see a whale, there's no time to watch the pelican, who may or may not be smiling while sitting, staring, looking out. Because pelicans who sit and stare can never be a whale. If you want to see a whale, be careful not to notice something inching small and green across the leaf, just nibble, scoot. Because things that are smaller than most small things can't be as giant as a whale. If you want to see a whale, you shouldn't watch the clouds. Some floating by, some hanging down in the sky that's spread out side to side, or the certain sun that's shining, because if you start to look straight up, you might just miss a whale. If you want to see a whale, keep both eyes on the sea. And wait. And wait. And wait. Beautiful illustrations accompany that, so check it out later today when I put it up on the Where's Chloe Media YouTube, or find and buy a copy for a kid or for yourself. And good luck this weekend to those who have important things going on. There are multiple big things going on, so yeah, yay for that. Be safe, be kind to yourself and others. Be you out there in these streets, because who else are you going to be? I will go do the same, and we can all meet back here on Monday. Thanks again for being here.